Hey everyone, so today we are covering equations of a circle. So the very first thing that we're going to cover is equations of a circle in standard form. So before you kind of have that formula of an equation of a circle. And so what you can see is that h and k relate to the points of the center. And of course, r always stands for radius. So you need to figure out what the radius is equal to, and then you have to square it. So the other thing that you should kind of notice is that you really need three pieces. You need your x coordinate, you need your y coordinate of your center, and then you need your radius. And all of those you can get from a graph, you can get from an equation, and so forth. I'm going to also teach you some rules to figure out equations of a circle. Okay, so let's start off basic and then we're going to work our way up from here. So using the equation of a circle formula, so we're going to do this in standard form, we want to write an equation of a circle with center -1, 3 and radius 12. So I'm going to label a couple of things here for myself. Okay, your x coordinate of your vertex is h. Your y coordinate of your vertex is k. So I have h and k. And then the last thing you need is r, radius, and the radius happens to be 12. So now that I have all of these things labeled, I'm going to go ahead and write my equation. Okay, so I'm going to do x, always minus, and remember that h is -1. Okay, so we're gonna simplify that in a second. And then that's squared, right? That's what the formula says, it's squared, plus y minus, it's always minus, and then it looks like k in this case is equal to 3. Okay, then I'm going to do equals, and then I need r. And r in this case happens to be 12, and I have to do r squared, so I'm going to square it. So this is my first step. I want to label everything. You need h, you need k, you need r. You then plug into the formula, and now from here we're going to simplify. Minus a minus turns into a plus. I can't I forgot my squared right here. Y minus 3, nothing else I can simplify. And then 12 squared, 12 times 12 is 144. This right here is my final answer. So I want you to notice something here. If my center is negative, if one of my coordinates is negative in my equation, it's going to come out positive. If one of my coordinates is positive, it's going to stay negative in the equation. So I tend to think of this that it's opposite signs on the inside of your parentheses. Okay, so that's kind of how you're going to check this. All right, so let's try another one, something similar here. We want to write the equation of a circle with center 5, -2, and radius, this is supposed to be radical 13, because hopefully that makes sense. So I want you to take a second here, and I want you to tell me what you think h, k, and r are equal to. So in other words, you're going to tell me what h is equal to, what k is equal to, and what r is equal to. Okay, so take a second to go ahead and do that. All right, so in this case, remember h is your x coordinate of your vertex, of your center, I'm sorry. K is the y coordinate, so that happens to be -2. Radius is square root of 13. So when we plug into the formula, I'm going to do x minus whatever h is equal to, and h is equal to 5, squared, plus, I'm just following the formula, y minus, it's always minus, k is equal to a -2 squared, equals whatever my radius is squared. In this case, radius is square root of 13, and then I have to square that. Okay, so we label everything, which we did here, and that was what I asked you to do. We plug in, and now let's simplify. X minus 5 squared, I can't simplify anything there, so it's going to stay the same. Y minus a minus 2, minus a minus turns into plus. And don't get tripped up here. When I have a square root squared, and so when I see like square root squared, they actually cancel each other out. So I'm going to get 13. Here's the reason why. Square root of 13 times the square root of 13 is equal to square root, and then you multiply the insides. 13 times 13 is 169. And guess what the square root of 169 is? 13. So the square roots cancel each other out. And that means that this is my final answer. I'm going to check my rule. Remember, the rule is opposite of the inside. So if it's positive 5 as in the center, it is negative 5 in the formula. And if it's negative in the center, then it's positive in the formula. Okay, so it's like opposite signs of what you would normally think. Okay, let's do one more in this part, and then you're going to take a pause, and you're actually going to try these problems on your own. So give the circle center and the radius with the following equation. So we actually want to figure out, our final answer needs to say the center, and then whatever is the center, and we need to say radius is equal to. That's essentially what we're finding. So remember that your center deals with these two numbers right here. And remember, it's the opposite of what we see on the inside. So where I see a plus 5 on the inside for my x-coordinate, it's actually going to be a negative 5 as a center. And where I see a minus 1 on the inside, that's actually going to be a regular one, right? Because the formula has negative in there. So my center is opposite signs of the inside. Your radius is just slightly tricky. Remember that this 41 is in the same place as r squared. So 41 is equal to r squared, not r, but r squared. So how do you get rid of a square? Well, you square root both sides. So square root of 41 doesn't simplify, but square root of r squared is just r, so that means that my radius is square root of 41. I can't